Hey, it's Craig from BEACN. We've recently added some really cool features to BEACN App, including hotkeys. Now, those hotkeys can be used to control mixer profiles, which means you can do a wholesale change of everything in your mixer setup, all with a hotkey that can be used in something like a multi-action in Stream Deck or any other program that can send hotkey commands to combine those with things like scene changes in OBS or lighting changes or whatever else to have your audio do the same changes as your video, which really makes your production value take a tick up. And it's awesome. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'm going to show you kind of a way that I've come up with a workflow to think through the process about how I can base my activities on the audio setup. Now, something else that we started noticing when we were getting these hotkeys connected and we were changing these profiles was that it's all well and good to have your music go from level A to level B. But if it jumps, it's not very slick. It's not very pleasing. So we worked really hard to put in a crossfade option that allows that level to slowly move up and down at this really nice fading pace. So you can turn that on or off in the settings. We really like to leave it on because it just makes everything sound so smooth. So I'm going to show you the examples with it all on today, but just keeping that in mind that we dug in there to try and make this happen for you. So now it's going to sound really cool when you change between scenes in your stream and everything just kind of morphs into the next scene. All right. So what I've done is I have created a new profile. So up here, this is kind of what you would get if you just were out of the box, brand new profile. The first thing I do is I think to myself, okay, what am I going to be doing? Well, let's think of it from a streaming perspective. Okay, I'm going to rename this profile here, Start of Stream, because a lot of people let their stream run for a few minutes before they go live, and they want certain things to be happening not only on the video, but also on the audio side of things. So let's kind of walk through that in our heads. Okay, so I'm going to go live. Little caveat here. I'm going to say I'm going to mute the microphone. But if I do, you wouldn't be able to hear me because you're listening to the audience mix right now. So I'm going to say it and then I'm not going to do it, or I'll click it on and then click it off really fast, just so that you can see how it all works. So I would ask myself, start of stream. Do I want people to hear my microphone? Probably not. So I just turn it off to the audience mix. Okay. Chat. Discord might be there, in-game chat, anything like that might be running on your chat channel. Do I want to hear what's still going on in the chat? Yeah, probably. So I'm going to leave my personal mix unmuted here, but I'm going to mute it to the audience because that way now I can have a conversation with a guest or a friend or anything like that behind the scenes before the stream starts. Awesome. Music. Yeah, I'm probably going to have music running. So I've just got some royalty-free music playing on YouTube here. So I'm just going to let it go. Here it comes, right? So the music comes in there and you would decide what level you want to start it at. Let's say it's going to go from here. Okay. So we'll just leave it there and say, great. I'll pause the music now so I can keep talking away here. Browser. Now, probably not going to use my browser. Not playing a game yet. And system. Now, system you might have assigned to your alert output. So you might say to yourself, I want to hear important alerts, but my audience doesn't need to hear them yet. You go, you know what? That's a pretty good place for me to start. So I save it, just using a little disk here. Now, instead of starting over again and clicking the plus button and getting a whole new profile, which would be kind of an empty start over place, I just say to myself, cool, let's carry on from start of stream to the next thing I'm doing. So I'm going to duplicate that profile. It shows up here. I click on it and notice that nothing changes. It just goes to start of stream 1 because it's the same thing. I'm going to rename that now. Let's just, for the sake of argument here, call it gaming, right? We've moved into a gaming phase. And I just go left to right and ask myself the same questions over again. Do I want them to hear me on the stream? Yeah, I'm going to leave that unmuted for my mic. Chat. Well, yeah, of course, let's bring the guest. Let's bring the game chat, any of that kind of stuff that's on chat. We want that to be coming into the stream now. Music. Yeah, probably want them to hear music, but you know what? We're going to turn it down quite a bit because we want that to fade down below the game level. Browser? Probably not. We're not just chatting. We're not watching a movie. Game? Yeah, absolutely. Now, I might want more game in my headphones than the audience gets because I find that the mix between my voice and the music and the chat that's coming in and the game sound all needs to be set up slightly differently for me than for the audience. So well, for sake of argument, let's say that I pumped up my game sound a little bit and I'm going to unmute my system because I want my alerts to now go out to the audience so that they know when somebody else donates or subs or anything like that. I say, great, now I've got a gaming setup. Okay, well, what am I going to do when I'm gaming? What's the next stage in my 4-hour long stream? I got to go to the bathroom. So we're going to duplicate this profile. We switch over to it, and then we're going to rename it AFK. And I again ask myself the same questions. I would have muted my mic, but for sake of argument here, I won't, so you don't hear me. I'm going to mute the chat to the audience. Now, am I eating dinner? Hey, I'm going to mute it to only the audience, and I'm going to listen to it myself. But if I'm indisposed, then yeah, maybe I don't want to have the chat coming through in either direction, right? Music, yep, but I'm probably going to bring it up to a decent level so that I can go AFK. Browser turns off, game audio turns off. My alerts probably turn off as well, but maybe I want to be able to hear them just in case, right? Hey, that looks like a good AFK setup, so I save it. And now all I have to do is switch between those. There's my start of stream levels. Now I'm gaming and everything's changing. And now I'm AFK. So let's take a look at how we switch things when there's sound and the really cool way that the crossfading works. Okay, so let's bring that music back. I'm going to actually go into the game one, put it low. Okay, so we're going to have the music. And of course, the song is quiet down in there, right? You can probably barely hear it if I shut up. Now, let's go AFK. And back to gaming. And back to AFK. Isn't that cool? So now you can imagine how all of those things can morph around how you've got the things set up. And you can really make sure that your production value comes up a tick. Now, how do you relate that to hotkeys? Basically, in the little menu down on the left-hand side here, you've got a hotkey menu and your profiles will all show up there. And you literally just click the plus button and then put the hotkey combination that you want, you know, a Control F7. And now that hotkey works with that profile and so on and so on. And then you just go take those profiles over to something like a Stream Deck multi-action. And you just go in and tell it what it's going to do. So in this case, it would be Alt F7 that I would put in there, right, in order to make that thing work. And then I would combine that with an OBS hotkey, and I would combine that with other hotkeys. Super easy to make that work. So I hope that helps, and that maybe my way of thinking of it resonates with you. If it doesn't, you can do it your own way as well. But I found that that was an easy way to kind of take it all in chunks and think about, what am I doing? What's the activity? And then how does the sound relate to that activity? And then that way the whole thing can be smoother and more awesome for you. So hope you enjoyed the little deep dive there. I managed to do this video without accidentally hitting the mute on my mic like halfway through the video, which I've only done 2 or 3 times already today. And I'm really wanting to be done making this video so I don't screw it up again. So anyways, yeah, love you all. Take care.